Okay, start of the week. Let's go and take a look at how the markets are faring. The last time I looked at the FTSE 100, it was as flat as a tack. It's as flat as a tack. Look at that. Miners and financial stocks dragging the markets down. If we take a look at Europe, the DAX in Frankfurt, there we go, slightly up. Investors really following the gains that they saw in Asia, all on signs that the US and China trade talks could be entering a final stage. That'd be some good news, wouldn't it? I wouldn't have to keep talking about it. Let's just take a look at the Nikkei also. Look at that, nearly 1.4% higher with the cheaper yen against the dollar. Of course, that helps the Japanese exporters. It makes Japanese stuff cheaper, so apparently we buy more of it. Yeah. Next one, oil. There you go, down. $71.15 a barrel. Bam, let's get rid of that because I want to talk about the thousands of Jet Airways passengers. It ain't been a good time for them. It ain't a great time for the company. Those passengers have been stranded. Yeah, because one of India's largest airlines we know is saddled with more than $1 billion in debt and has already suspended all of its international flights as it really just struggles to survive. Its lenders, right now, I think they're still trying to decide if it's got a future. Will they dish out any more money as a financial lifeline? Let's go straight over to Samir Hashmi, who's in Mumbai. Hey, Samir, lovely to see you as always. I know there's a bit of a delay on the line, but let me get this out to you. If you look at airlines in other regions, Europe, the United States, they are paying the same oil price. They are dealing with competition from low-cost carriers as well. Yet the vast majority of them make a profit. What's gone wrong at Jet Airways?
Aaron, let me first break the story. Jet Airways has failed to secure any funding from the lenders. I've just got a confirmation. They had a long meeting with the management, but the lenders were not convinced and they have not committed to provide any money. Now the CEO has just written a letter to the employees saying that they will suspend operations on all the international routes until April 19th. They were already suspended, but now they're going to extend the date. And secondly, they are going to have a board meeting tomorrow to decide what will be the next step. Given that they have not secured any funding, it looks pretty unlikely that they'll be able to continue with whatever their a few aircraft they've been flying. So I think now tomorrow's meeting could, in a way, give us a sense whether the airline will continue flying or not. So this has just happened right now.
Wow. I mean, thank you for breaking that to us because that is, not good news for all the employees. Many of them you've been talking to today, they were protesting. They haven't been paid for 4 months. If they've got no money, the airline, well, one would imagine is going to collapse. But what was the root of all of this? How did it get to this state?
Aaron, if you look at Jet Airways, it's the oldest private carrier, which started in the 1990s after India's markets were liberalized. And since then, it did pretty well because at that point of time when it entered the market, Air India, which is the public sector carrier, was the only airline that used to fly in India. And Jet Airways did pretty well until the mid-2000s. The problem started with the entry of low-cost carriers. Now, unlike the United States and Europe, where there's a clear demarcation between the low-cost carriers and the legacy carriers or the full-fledged carriers, there's a difference in the business model. The operational cost is different. The taxes are different. That's not the case in the Indian aviation market. The operational cost is almost the same. And since the entry of low-cost carriers, they've been able to lower their ticket prices because their operational cost is low. Jet has struggled on that front. They are selling tickets at a cheap price or lower price to compete with the low-cost carriers, but they failed to bring down their operational cost. And then last year, when oil prices shot up and the Indian rupee deteriorated significantly against the dollar, that was a double whammy for Jet Airways because it was incurring losses for so many years, and with oil prices shooting up, it just made the situation even harder for them, and since then they've just been struggling.
Really tough. Samir, always a pleasure. Thanks for the update, and the very fresh update indeed. We'll talk to you soon. We'll probably talk to you tomorrow if we get any more out of that board meeting. Thank you, Samir Hashmi, joining us live from Mumbai. Hey, it's that time of the program. Let's go and take a look at what's trending online in the business world. Now, Tiger Woods, you saw it, took home his 5th Masters trophy yesterday on Sunday, but he wasn't the only winner. His sponsors got nearly $24 million in exposure from the 43-year-old's victory. Nike, who maintained a clothing deal with Woods despite the injuries and the bad press, had the lion's share of that 24 mil. What they got? 22 million of it. Not bad day. Hey, today is the tax deadline to file in the United States, and there are questions about whether Harry and Meghan's baby, which is actually due today apparently, will also eventually have to file in America. The United States is one of the only countries that charges tax based on citizenship and not location. So if that baby has dual citizenship, it's going to have to cough up maybe. And a man in Indiana is suing his parents for $87,000. Why, you ask? Because they threw away his vast pornography collection. Yeah, the parents say they thought they were doing him a favour when they tossed out titles such as Frisky Business and Big Bad Grannies. I am so sorry, that was the story before you. Hey, coming up, it is the we make, they take economy. The question is, who really creates the wealth in our world and how do we put a price or value on what they do? Well, this economist believes we need to reassess who society's wealth creators really are. We'll see you after the break.